Now what I'd like you to do is watch a little clip. It goes for 4 minutes and 55 seconds and you can find the address there in your booklet on page 55. What I'd like you to do then is answer the questions on page 55, 56, 57 and 58, all on the digestive system. Okay, all the information is found in this PowerPoint and in the booklet, which has a little bit more detail, and that will certainly stand you in good stead. We'll go through the answers in our next video. See you then. Hi and welcome back to the next video in the series of Organisation of Living Things, Module 2, and today we're looking at the nutrient requirements of heterotrophs. So remembering of course that heterotrophs are unable to make their own food and therefore have to eat or consume food to get their energy requirements. So we're going to look at the mammalian digestive system, and you would be familiar with this from your Year 8 studies where we looked at the digestive system there. So we're just going to take it into a little bit more detail. So just to recap, digestion is when food is broken down physically and chemically into smaller molecules, and then these molecules are absorbed into the bloodstream. Now the breakdown of food can be done in two different ways, mechanically and then chemically. So let's have a look at those two. So with our mechanical digestion, we're using initially our teeth to break down our food into smaller particles. So we have a variety of different teeth, and if you compare the teeth that we have to the teeth of other mammals, you can see that the types of teeth that they've got are different for the purpose that they have them for. So in the case of canines or your tigers and things like that, they've got very, very big, very sharp canine teeth, and they're there for that tearing of their food. But then compare that, say, for example, to a cow who chews on grass. They have a very blunt plate type teeth, I suppose, but very blunt teeth where they're just grinding their food down. Now, if you look at our teeth, we have again a variety of different teeth, and we do have a set of what we call canines, and they are our more pointier teeth that we have towards the front of our mouth. But if you compare the type of teeth we have, or our canines, to those of tigers and so forth, they're not as sharp. And again, looking at the way that we are using our teeth, we're chopping our teeth up, our food up into smaller pieces and so forth, and chewing. But again, if you want to chew something that's hard or tough, we tend to put it to that side of our mouth, tear the food away, and then it moves back to those flatter teeth, our molars at the back, that grind the food down into smaller pieces. Our stomach also goes through a mechanical breakdown as well. Our stomach is churning that food around. Imagine like a washing machine and turning that food around and breaking it down into smaller pieces. We then also have chemical digestion, which is the use of enzymes to chemically break down those complex molecules into smaller, simpler forms. For example, glucose from carbohydrates, amino acids from proteins, glycerols and fatty acids from our lipids, and our nucleotides from our nucleic acids. And that is one of the answers of the questions in your work booklet. So looking here at our human digestive system, and this again should be very familiar to you. We have our tongue and our mouth, and that is all helping with that movement of the food around. The mouth and the teeth are chewing that food down, the tongue is moving it around, and it's being created into a bolus, a small ball of food ready to be moved down into the esophagus. If ever you've chewed meat and found it really chewy and yucky and you've spat it back out, you're looking there at your bolus. So then our food moves down the esophagus into the stomach. Now we have the liver off to the side and a number of other organs there, such as the gallbladder and the bile duct. We'll come to these later. But then it passes through into the small intestine, the large intestine, and out through the anus. So, as I've said already, the digestion starts in the mouth. That's the breakdown of the food by chewing, and it increases the surface area, and that enables then our enzymes a greater surface to act upon. Now, in the mouth, we have amylase as the enzyme there in our salivary, produced by our salivary glands and found in our saliva, and it breaks down our starch into simple sugars. So, if you take a biscuit, a very plain water cracker, and you were to chew it and really focus on the taste of it, you might find that it starts to taste sweet as you're chewing it. So we then have our esophagus. Now, once that bolus moves into the esophagus, it travels down that soft-walled muscular tube, and it does it via muscular contractions, and these muscular contractions are called peristalsis, and it pushes even against gravity. So what I want you to try and do for me is do a handstand. Stand on your head, against the wall, whatever, and try and swallow some food that you maybe have in your mouth, or swallow some water. And on our little Teams chat, either post a picture or tell me, what did you find? Did the food go down or not? Give it a whirl, it's a bit of fun. So then the food goes into our stomach. So the churning of the food here continues. So this is part of mechanical digestion, and that bolus that we swallowed, or that was formed in the mouth, is now combining with gastric juices, and it's forming a mixture called chyme. And these gastric juices are things like some water, the hydrochloric acid, then we've got pepsinogen and pepsin, which are some enzymes there, again working on your food to break it down into smaller components. Now, the hydrochloric acid there is very, very, very strong, and has been known to eat the deco off your car if you've hit a kangaroo driving along and so forth, if you leave it there. So it's a really, really corrosive acid. Now, why does it not then corrode away or eat away at the lining of our stomach? And that's because our lining of our stomach is coated with mucus to protect it there. Now, this chyme that we have is really quite gross sometimes, and if we do a dissection, you can actually find it's a liquidy-like mass, and that food can remain in our stomach for about 6 hours. Once it's been in the stomach and has been broken down further, our food then moves into our small intestine. Now, it's about 7 meters long, and as you can see in the picture here, it's highly folded. Now, again, we've got pancreatic juices here, and as the name suggests, it's produced in our pancreas. And again, more digestive enzymes are here. Amylase, so working on our carbs, trypsin, and that works on our proteins, and then we have lipase, which works on our lipids, again as the name suggests. Then we have a bicarbonate ion there, and that helps to neutralize the acid as it moves into the small intestine. So once we've got that food in that small intestine, if there's lipids present there, so our fats, bile is released into the duodenum. Now, the duodenum is the top part. If we go back to our previous slide, our duodenum is up here, the top part, just as it comes out of the stomach. Now, bile's not an enzyme. It basically is like washing detergent, except it's not washing detergent, but it breaks down the fats into smaller droplets. Now, within our small intestine, it is highly folded within there. Again, this is to increase the surface area for the efficient transfer and transport of those nutrients from within the small intestine into our bloodstream, and they're called villi. So what happens is we have got our food and nutrients within our small intestine, and it is very close then to this network of capillaries there. So the nutrients then diffuse across the wall of the villi, and I'll just move me up so you can see what I was writing. The nutrients diffuse across the wall of the villi and into the capillaries and some lymph vessels there. So glucose and amino acids are absorbed into these capillaries here, while our fatty acids and our glycerol move into our lymph vessels. So the liver also plays an important function here. So digested food, once it's absorbed into the bloodstream, the blood then travels to the liver, and it really plays an important role in keeping some levels in balance, such as our sugars, our glycogen, protein, and so forth. But it has a really important role in detoxifying the blood. Now with our large intestine, and again I'll just move over here. In our large intestine, once all our digestive products have been absorbed, what the body needs has been absorbed from the food there, the remaining undigested particles move into the large intestine. Now, if your body needs some of that water back, it will take it back, and some of the salt, but the rest of the undigested material compacts together into a solid substance. Now, some of the bacteria there that's in that large intestine works on that undigested matter and actually produces some vitamins. And some of those vitamins then are absorbed back into the bloodstream, and the remainder is removed as feces out of our anus. Now, that's just a fancy word for poo.